The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics forecasts that employment of construction laborers and helpers is projected to grow 12% from 2016 to 2026. Great news, right? Well, not so fast. It is widely reported that we are facing a serious labor shortage in the construction industry. Now, this is no surprise, and it shouldn't be to any of you. The most recent numbers from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce show that 94% of contractors report at least moderate levels of difficulty in finding skilled workers. And the numbers are just keep creeping up. And at the same time, 55% of contractors admit they have plans to increase staff with what in the next 6 months. Now, it's a challenge to say the least. And as I see it, it's a challenge that is getting more and more what? Costly. This means overruns, project delays, higher insurance, accidents on the job site, and the list goes on and on and on. But what are we going to do? Now, this is what I want to talk about today. And I've invited Tim Lawrence, Executive Director of SkillsUSA, kind of lend a voice to this discussion. And then I'm going to interview Mark Breslin, President of Breslin Strategies and Executive Director of United Contractors, to tackle the topic. Now, I can tell you he's got a lot to say about this. And at the end of it all, I'm certain I'm going to have something to say about it and what is or isn't happening in our industry and what we attempt to do to address the skilled labor shortage. We are facing a serious skills gap in this country, and we need to address it today. SkillsUSA was founded in 1965, and it improves the quality of our nation's future skilled workforce through the development of skills that include personal, workplace, and technical skills grounded in academics. SkillsUSA is also a partner in Generation T, which is an effort by Lowe's to help close the skills gap in the construction trades. Today, I'm joined by Tim Lawrence, Executive Director of SkillsUSA. Tim, I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you so much, Peggy. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So let's talk about SkillsUSA and the mission. What are you guys all about?
Absolutely. Our mission is to empower our members, that's our students, studying in skilled trades all across this nation, to become world-class workers, leaders, and responsible citizens. You know, we define SkillsUSA as a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to assure America has a skilled workforce. And in that process, we try to help every one of these students excel.
Well, you and I both know right now we've got a shortage of workers in the pipeline when we talk about construction. What are you doing to try to help that right now? Because that is a big issue that we're struggling with in the construction industry specifically.
Absolutely. We are working with about 600 companies all across this nation. I serve on the Board of Trustees for the National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. I just came back from a meeting with them in California just yesterday. And it's amazing what's happening in the workforce as the generation, my generation, is aging out. You know, there are 10,000 people in this country that are turning 65 years old every single day. So that is one issue. But the other issue is that gap between the skills that are needed by industry and the skills that are available. So in SkillsUSA, we're graduating over 100,000 students a year that we believe are job ready day one. They come with the technical skills and the other professional skills that employers are looking for.
Are we really talking about the difference between technical skills and soft skills?
Well, we're talking about the combination of technical skills and soft skills, Peggy. Since our beginning in 1965, SkillsUSA was founded as a professional organization for students that were entering a trades pathway. So we know that employers are telling us and continuously tell us that, yes, they want the strong technical skills, they want the hands-on skills, but employers are really looking for that person with customer service, teamwork, communication, time management, all the skills that are needed in the workplace to be successful.
Tim, one of the things I think that's interesting right now is you talked about this older generation, that 65 and older, starting to retire. Are we starting to see mentors right now? As this younger generation comes in, there's this wealth of knowledge and experience that we need to pass on. Are we able to see that knowledge and experience being passed on to these younger kids coming in, so to speak?
Yeah, the interesting thing about SkillsUSA is we are a network of employers, companies, associations, even labor, working with our students each and every day, from the local level all the way really to the national and international level. So the competitions that we run match students with employers to test their skills, to mentor them, to stand behind them and support them. Big shoes to fill as these students move into the workplace, but we have a lot of mentors, thousands of them that are really helping, volunteering with SkillsUSA to help mentor our students.
So talk about the competitions. I'm not quite sure I understand what you do with these competitions and how long do they last, and really what do these students walk away with? Do they feel like they've got a future job? Walk us through a little bit of that.
Absolutely. Now, let me go backward just a moment and talk about what's being tested in the competition. Of course, technical skills are being tested, everything from carpentry to plumbing to HVAC to electrical wiring. And there are 105 different competitions happening at the national level this year. But SkillsUSA uses something we call the framework. The framework is a series of personal skills like work ethic and integrity, workplace skills like communication and teamwork, and then technical skills grounded in academics. So in our competitions, all framework skills are being tested. Those personal skills, workplace skills, and technical skills. So the competitions start at the local level. There are 23,000 classrooms across this country teaching some kind of technical trade or skill with our students in high schools, colleges, primarily technical and community colleges, even middle schools. So those competitions start at the local level. They will move as the students gain experience and move to the next level of competition. In Virginia here, for example, we have 12 regions or districts. So there'll be a district competition where the students, for example, in welding, will be tested by industry professionals in their district to move up to the state championship. The state championship in SkillsUSA for our students is just like a state football or basketball championships. It's really high stakes and very critical to our students and very important to our employers. So as you look at this pyramid of local, regional, state competition, these students that win at the state level move on to the national level of competition. And in Louisville this June, the third week of June, there'll be 6,500 students coming together to compete in 105 different competitions. Those competitions range from culinary arts to carpentry and everything in between. So as they move into this national competition, it's about a $36 million investment by American business and industry to test these students' skills. It's 20 football fields of floor place, Peggy. It's huge. It's massive. And as students are testing throughout an 8-hour day, exactly like a work day, they're being measured on those workplace technical and personal skills, primarily the technical skills. The winners emerge, gold, silver, and bronze, and they're awarded scholarships. They're awarded tools. In carpentry, for example, every student who competes, industry sponsors bring in about $1,200, $1,500 worth of tools of the trade for every one of those students to take with them to help them in their journey as they begin their career path in the construction trades, to have those tools available for them as they move into the career.
Are we seeing enough students wanting to get into the trades, or are we seeing a decline? Are you able to encourage more students to want to get into the trades, or are we seeing a decline, though? What are we doing to encourage them to want to be a part of these competitions?
Yeah, in SkillsUSA, we're actually seeing an increase. We've had 16 straight years of growth. This year, we'll have about 350,000 students involved in the program this academic year as we're speaking right now, and this program is growing. You know, I've never seen in my lifetime, and I've been involved in the skilled trades program as a technical student myself, as an instructor of welding in Virginia, as a state administrator and director of the program in Virginia, and now as the national CEO. I've seen a continuous, steady increase, actually almost doubled in the past 15 years.
If you're seeing an increase, then why is construction struggling to get employees that they need on the job site? So, I mean, we see that there's a disconnect. How do we get that, bridge that disconnect, you know, that gap that's there?
There are more students coming into our programs, but there are probably fewer students entering the pipeline into these trades overall. So SkillsUSA serves, again, a population of 300 to 400,000 students a year, but that's a percentage of the total pool. So as we're seeing our program increase, and I can tell you the stars have aligned like never before with government officials, with governors, with workforce agencies, like never before around this issue. College debt has increased to the level of exceeding credit card debt for the first time in our country.
Right.
Parents are starting to see that certifications and associate degrees and skilled trades are being very valued in the workplace, that there are absolutely great options for students to come in and support their families and their communities with a trade versus spending and going into debt for a 4-year degree. We embrace higher education. We want to make sure that our students understand there's a pathway always to that. But what a great place to start in the skilled trades to work your way into a career path where you'll be successful.
Tim Lawrence, Executive Director of SkillsUSA, thank you for spending time with me today.
Thank you so much, Peggy.
As we continue our discussion on the labor crisis in the construction industry today, We have to have a real conversation about leadership and how it can step up and inspire our next generation. As an author, speaker, and CEO, my next guest has improved leadership, accountability, innovation, and engagement in organizations and individuals around the world. Today, I'm joined by Mark Breslin, President of Breslin Strategies and Executive Director of United Contractors. So let's learn more about how a change in leadership can actually help the industry address the labor shortage. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So Mark, let's talk about one of the most critical issues I think this industry is facing, and I really don't think they're really understanding the seriousness of what we're facing right now when we talk about the labor shortage.
I think that the serious nature of it has now become apparent, but what we're doing is paying for the sins of the past. The apathy on the part of the construction industry to just think it was all going to work out has come to a crashing halt.
And looking at that right now, it is a crashing halt. I mean, it's so serious right now. I think as an industry, we are going to talk about profitability losses, I think production losses, and I think it's only going to get worse. But why as an industry, why aren't we coming together to address it? Why as we as an industry do we think we can handle it individually as companies and not really rallying to say we need to do something to upskill, reskill, do the right things, and we're just not addressing it? I think it's critical nature, and I think each company is at fault. I don't want to pick on an industry I love, but the reality is we're not doing enough to recognize the seriousness of the problem because we don't have the next generation, millennials, Generation Z, that want to get in this industry. And it's a problem. What are we going to do when we can't rebuild our infrastructure because we don't have the kids that want to get into it?
Well, I think that the fundamental issue here is that we have a cultural problem. Is that if you look at the history of construction, I can think of another cultural revolution that took a while to come around, and that was safety. When you had people saying, it's really a problem, but nobody wanted to do anything about it. You had individual companies, you had individual entities, and everybody was wringing their hands, and no one was really doing anything about it until the owner community decided that it had to be addressed. And they forced that cultural change downstream on everyone else. That's starting to occur now. Now owners are saying, if you can't show me that you have skilled labor in order to build my project, it's not going to go. And what that's forcing the construction industry to do is become very introspective and ask themselves, okay, what do we got to do different? How do we got to get young people involved? And for the first time, the culture is becoming a people culture rather than a project culture. In my speaking to a lot of senior CEOs of construction companies all over, I try to tell them, you're not in the business anymore of building projects. You're in the business of building people that build the projects.
So basically, you're saying the owners have to crack the whip. They're the ones that have to say, if you don't get your act together, I'm not going to hire you. I'm not going to do business with you. It's plain and simple.
Well, it's impacting, you were talking about profitability. What the owner's concerned about is schedule and cost. So if you're going to tell me you can't field an A team for me or B team for me, and my project's going to be 10 months late, I'm probably not going to build it. If my labor costs are so extreme because now wages and fringes are shooting through the roof because you can't recruit, then I can't build it because it won't pencil out. And what that's going to do is force the industry to become more innovative, more committed, and more proactive.
So you just described, in order to bridge the gap, we've got to talk about a lot more collaboration. And if they don't collaborate, we're not going to succeed. Is that what you're saying? Is that how we're going to bridge the gap?
Yeah, and so just take for an example, you were talking about the generational issue. So we need to reposition the construction industry as a viable career destination. And you just look at the barriers we have. If you go out in America and ask people, what kind of people work in construction? What kind of answers are we going to get? Uneducated, couldn't do anything else. It's kind of a perceived bottom feeder model for a fantastic industry.
That's horrific. That's horrific to say that, right?
Yeah, and so you have school counselors, you have teachers, you have parents, you have all these barriers of people telling people that's not viable. And I got 4 generations in 100 years in my family that says it's a great business. Now, why don't you figure out how to insert yourself into this dialogue?
So if you say that, if you put that mentality into a Generation Z, a baby boomer, whatever the next generation is, why would they ever want a career into this? Because that mentality is that's not the future. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. They're not going to want a career in that.
Okay, so let's look at TV. What do people watch on TV these days? They
The
watch
Kardashians, right? They want to
wait,
be
they
on the
do.
beaches, right? I mean, come on. I mean, that's
Hey,
all
you know what else
sexy.
they watch? Here's what they watch: Deadliest Catch. Here's what they watch: Old Miners. Blue collar is cool again. And also, you know, Peggy, this is
The Bachelor. They watch The Bachelor. Come on. I mean, I want to throw up on that show, but come on.
I'll concede there's some superficial bullshit out there, but let's just say overall what we're talking about is that people are looking at people who work in legitimate occupations like construction in a different light. And here's the last part. For the first time ever, people are looking at a college degree as a questionable investment. Would you agree with me?
Questionable. Tell me how many people who've gone to college don't even get a job after they graduate. Look at how many lawyers graduate and they can't even get a job.
And we have an industry where by the time you're a foreman, you're making $100,000. By the time you're a superintendent, you're making $120 to $140. The average family of four in America makes about $45,000 a year. We could talk earnings. We could talk longevity. We could talk opportunity. We could talk advancement.
And you don't have a debt. You don't have a debt when you're a foreman. If you work hard and you become a foreman, you don't have this horrible debt that you have when you go to college.
Well, here it is. We tell a terrible story. We have no ability
there
to tell
you go.
Like our story is a bunch of blue-collar guys sitting on a job site, whistling at girls, old school, stupid stereotypes.
And it sucks. It sucks. It's become a story that nobody wants. But how do you get, when we have less than 9% of women in this industry, and you're saying you whistle at girls, why would women want to be in this industry?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that finally, if you take the Me Too as applied to the entire society, you have the hardcore blue collar, the military, and other places that have not been friendly to women. I think that's opening up and opening up rapidly. I got 5 sisters and no brothers. I would absolutely recommend get in the construction industry today, and you'll find that it's a different place than it used to be. And I'm pretty optimistic about it.
So we have to change the mindset. We have to do something to build the gap. But we know this. We say this. We've been saying it for years. We've got to change. But we don't. We haven't. We know it, but we're still not doing it. Shame on the industry. Shame on everyone. But we know it. But why aren't we doing it? We're talking it. We're not walking the walk.
Because construction has been a very reactive industry. And we're now, our feet's being put to the fire with the shortage. And so there is no alternative. You have to do it. So now it's not a want to do, it's a have to do. And I think that right now is the first time I've seen companies put big money into recruitment, into retention, into training for the first time in my entire career, which is, over 30 years in the business.
So is technology going to be the reason they change? Because now technology is going to force them. Is it a mindset that's going to force them? They just know because you just said the Me Too. What is really going to make the industry change? Because they have to, because if they don't, they're going to be out of business, like what happened in the biggest crash we had in 2007, 2009. What is going to make us realize we've got to think differently?
I think that I don't think technology is going to do it. I think everybody's overhyped on technology. I think it's going to change our industry fundamentally, and it's great. I think we got to go back to a more basic fundamental issue. I don't agree that we have a skilled workforce shortage. I'm like the one person out of 1 million people in this country, and everybody looks at me like I'm an idiot. We don't have a skilled workforce shortage. We have an engaged workforce shortage. That's the problem.
That's a great point.
You give people skills and they're not engaged, it doesn't matter. If they're not engaged, they're going to cycle through the industry. They're going to go find something else to do.
They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go in another industry,
right? The greatest companies and organizations in America, in business, are fully aware that engagement, especially you brought up the millennials and Gen Z, that's why they go to work. They go to work being engaged. We can't say, there's no more transactional workplace. Here's 8 hours, here's 8 hours pay. Go pull that wire, go put in that pipe, go finish that concrete. That's over. So now what companies have to do is they have to say, what's my plan to engage these people? And skills come with that. motivation, inspiration, people being stoked to do their job versus saying, you know, here's these skills, now go do it. It's so binary when we talk about skills, and I think it's short-sighted and stupid, and we're not going to get anywhere with it. And the companies that get it are absolutely going to be the competitive.
So you know what, Mark, we're going to come back. We're out of time for this one, but you know what we're going to talk about the next time? We're going to talk about who's to blame. I think we're all to blame because you know what we don't do? We don't spend the time when we lose employees. It's all of us to blame. And you know what? What aren't we doing to make our employees recognize that we should be doing more to keep our employees, right? Why aren't we keeping our employees? And that's the question. So I want you to come back because I want to talk about why we're not keeping employees and we're not doing the right things. Because I think that's a good discussion. All right, Mark Breslin, President of Breslin Strategies and Executive Director of United Contractors. Thanks so much for spending time with me.
My pleasure.
The workforce challenges in the construction industry are not getting better. Now, that's the fact. Okay, rather than just repeating the same old story, we need to reshape the narrative about what it means to work in the construction industry. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce did a really interesting research on this very subject. Many of the common misconceptions about the construction market still exist today. 61% think all the construction jobs are what? Dirty jobs. 55% believe construction requires brute strength rather than just training. Roughly 52% think construction work is simply a job, and it's not a career. We need to flip the story on its head because the reality is earning a potential career is a pretty damn good one. Yep, that's right. It's a pretty damn good career. And the opportunities for a career advancement in construction is ripe for the picking. But why aren't we doing enough? But the negative perceptions continue to outweigh the positives. Yes, this industry is doing a lousy job, and you heard me say it, lousy. So this is why we need to change the narrative. We need to talk to all the trades in all the schools. In what grade? In 9th grade, perhaps even sooner. Let's get them excited. Let's get the students excited early. I heard Temple Grandin speak, and she made a great point. Not all kids learn at the same way. Some are visual learners, some are mathematical, but whatever, they will learn at their own speed. Let's get them excited about doing, inventing, creating. We are all in the industry when we are connected and we're collaborating. The next evolution of tech should not be at the same way, replacing human capital, but rather we work in tandem with it. We need to understand, just like when we say in business, not every company is going to become a digital company, but they need to leverage digital. Did you understand what I just said? You need to understand that strategy. That means you need to have a digital strategy. Our children need to be thinking about construction early if they want to even consider a career in construction. We need to guide them. That is how we attract women and young workers. Here's what we need to do to attract workers under 30 to construction jobs. According to those findings from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, high pay, good benefits, clear path for advancement, ability to work with advanced technology. We have all been talking about Generation Z, but maybe we need to look to Generation Y for encouragement. So what can you do today? The National Center for Construction Education and Research suggests that by 2021, Generation Y will make up 1/5 of the workforce, which is especially important as 41% of the construction workforce is set to retire by 2031. The National Center for Construction Education and Research outlined 5 things that a Generation Z professional is looking for in their career: financial security, career advancement, diversity, encourage collaboration while fostering independence and technology. For decades, the story that construction industry has been telling is in stark contrast to what the younger generation wants in a career. But the industry and the reality seem to be working against when it comes to the new hires. Let me say it again. Unless you are working in construction today, the image you have in your head about what the construction industry is all about just is not real. It is an industry that is more diverse. It is more tech savvy. It offers amazing opportunities for career advancement, and it pays well. We need to reshape the narrative. We need to highlight that diversity exists. We need to show that it is more inclusive, not exclusive. We need to tell a new story. We need to talk more about all this amazing innovation. We need to tell a digital story, and we need to do it today. And thanks for watching Construct Tech TV, fierce advocates for construction.